I tell you one reason why movie stars might matter, and it plays into a movie I saw earlier today, which is The Company You Keep, which is
I saw that too.
Robert Redford.
I'm going to see it next weekend, so is it good?
Robert Redford's latest movie. It is mildly engaging. Personally, I found it mildly engaging. I thought it would have been a lot less so without the familiar faces. So every one of those big actors that come up, they get their one scene, and then they're done. But but that alone kind of keeps your interest. Oh, great actor! You know, this isn't outstanding work in this movie or anything, but yeah, it's good to see him. You know, just check that actor off.
Is it better than The Conspirator?
Yeah.
That is exactly what I thought of it. It was that I thought that it was a pretty dull story. Like it was just sort of plodding along, and the story itself never really engaged me. But it was just cool to see all of the old veterans, so many of them too. I mean, it's a ridiculous number of people. And it, right down to Stephen Root.
It really is. And honestly, there's absolutely no reason why these people should be in this movie outside of they want to do it.
They don't really have a whole lot of. I think the best person in it is Richard Jenkins. You know, he has probably the best scene in it. But is it a good movie? I mean, I wouldn't bend over backwards to go and watch it because it was just. I just thought it was extremely, extremely dull. But that said, if you ran across it one day and it was easy to watch or whatever, and
it's a good cable movie.
See all these people,
yeah,
it's a good cable movie. Exactly.
Based on a really great book by a really great author, Neil Gordon. I read the book like nine years ago, but You're saying that this thing about the weather underground is nothing to write home about?
No, not really.
The movie isn't. You know what, though? And I was a little disappointed. I know it's the story. I was disappointed that he didn't actually participate in the bombing, and he was trying to clear his name. I thought it would have been much more morally ambiguous to have him actually be a perpetrator in that crime, but Redford wouldn't let that happen. I mean,
I agree. That's not
going to happen.
It has Redford, Julie Christie, Sarandon, Nolte.
Nolte, by the way, the only person that comes across as a '60s radical that could conceivably be a '60s radical.
Yeah, that's true. Redford, Christie. Well, Sarandon does a little bit, I think.
Well, to see Nolte and the polished Redford in a scene together, Nolte, which is, he could be wearing a three-piece suit and he'll still come across as this bumbling mess, but to see him go.
By the way, we haven't even talked about this. Shia LaBeouf, of course, is the other actor in it. The other big actor, the appeal to the new generation. I cannot buy him in any movie I see him in. I mean, I just cannot buy him as whatever character he's playing.
What about a guide to Recognizing Your Saints? Did you like him in that?
Oh yeah, that was probably one of his finest hours, I would say.
Or even Holes. What about Holes? Did you ever see Holes?
Holes, yeah, I like Holes. I'm not counting him as a kid, but like as an adult, especially like Lawless and this movie, I just can't buy him. If he's our new movie star, if he's like the new movie star, we're in trouble.
I think he's made so many enemies already. I don't think that's a pressing problem. So
he's really flaw. I mean, I just can't. And he's definitely going to have to get some scars or something in order to look like a man.
Some scars? You would recommend he go out and cut himself? Is that what you?
Oh my God! Well, there we go, folks.
He's going to have to. Maybe he should go into combat. Sign up for combat and then come back and maybe he'll be like an actual man. He does look like a man-child.
Well, he's playing characters that are between that stage now. Between adolescence and adulthood. I mean, I think that he did that with Lawless. I mean, he was playing that character that was in that in-between place. I like him.
Yeah, but he's 26 years old.
There are lots of late 20-year-old actors that got stuck playing
when Lee Marvin was 26 years old, he was kicking ass and taking names. This guy is like...
Yeah, but that was 50 years ago.
I wouldn't compare Lee Marvin to...
I know, but that's the kind of movie star we need.
Andrew McCarthy wasn't 17 years old when he was shooting Pretty in Pink. You know, I mean, it's always been that. Since we've been going to movies, it's been that way.
Nah, I don't agree.
Oh, okay. It's only been that way since the early 80s, which was 30 years ago.
Even Gene Hackman, when he was 27, what was he doing? All I'm saying is that there's why do we always have just these boy men, you know, for the next...
Well, because that's kind of, in one sense, it's kind of the era that we live in. It doesn't have to be, but he is popular. But he shoots himself in the foot every other week, it seems like. So, I mean...
The boy men thing, it's a generational thing. And it really started with the actors that we love from the 70s. I mean, because those actors were sensitive and brooding, and it's been a change in the culture. There's a lot that's been written about the feminization of the male in our culture today.
I think it's really a change in what they're looking for in Hollywood, but it doesn't mean that,
I think that it's emblematic of how the role of the male has changed in the world. It's bigger than movies.
Yeah, much bigger. I mean, that's a good point, Jamie.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a lot more pussies out there, Dean, is what I'm telling you.
See, there you go. He said it. There you go. Well, you let the cat out of the bag.
I guess so.
But 42 I thought was a really well done movie, though. I mean, I thought it was
really... And that strikes me as an old Hollywood-type movie.
Oh, it is, totally. I mean...
Okay.
In a good way, though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, and Robert Redford is a director like that. Robert Redford is one of those competent craftsmen. He's not going to make anything that really radicalizes an audience. And he just made a movie about radicals, so we've been talking about it. It's pretty much the most commonplace kind of approach. But when Robert Redford is very good, which I think as a director he has been a couple of times, I am really drawn to him because he has an instinct for portraying behavior on screen that I find that he doesn't necessarily have as an actor. As a director, if you watch something like Ordinary People, there are just slight calibrations in emotional response of those characters that tell you a lot about those characters through their, very subtle behaviors. And I think that only somebody that appreciates acting and comes from that world could maybe bring that out in that special way. He did that a little bit in Horse Whisperer. He did that in Ordinary People, definitely, especially with the Mary Tyler Moore character.
Oh, I thought he did that in
Quiz Show. Ordinary People remains as like kind of, it remains as most radical kind of movie, I think. You know.
Which one?
Ordinary People. You know, I think it remains like its most chance-taking. Let's put it that way, chance-taking kind of thing.
And this should have been this movie that he just made, given the source material, it sounds like it should have been his most risk-taking movie, and it sounds like he neutered the material.